Another summer of drunken violence on our streets has sparked debate about the adequacy of one-punch laws. Over 15,000 people took to the streets in Sydney to claim that city nightlife is dying as a result of lockouts, but reports suggest violence has dropped and hospitals are quieter on the weekends as a result of the laws. Meanwhile, two shocking coward punches in Canberra this year has seen Attorney General Simon Corbell forced to defend existing laws for violent offenders whilst being asked to consider lockout laws in Canberra.
We've come off a summer where some serious social issues raised their head once again. We had alcohol-fuelled violence, the coward punch type incidents has again come to prominence. We had a series of incidents in Canberra which saw the police putting, interestingly, videos out to the public to identify people, which turned out to be a very effective way of providing information to the police. The Sydney example has been really interesting, where we've had Premier Mike Baird's laws receiving criticism that nightlife is dead around popular entertainment regions, even though it perhaps is resulting in a reduction in violence. It's a difficult one to balance the needs of community safety, of traders' expectations, of actually generating economic benefit to the community as well. Do we need a lockout law in Canberra, do you think, Kristen?
Don't say that. Look, that would be really tough, I think, if we got our lockout laws. I think that we as a community and in Canberra, like we've got a good nightlife. Like I know that, like for me and for my friends and for our age groups, it's nice and it's suave and it's cool and there's still places to go. Unfortunately, there are just a few jerks, and I don't want those jerks and their one moments ruining it for everybody else. If we got those lockout laws, we would be the boring capital.
If I look at it as a social justice reporter in a much wider context, I have to ask the question about why are young men behaving like this?
Great question.
And I actually was talking to Martin Fisk from Men's Link, who's a fantastic Canberran and does a lot of work with young men, and he said to me, Ginger, this is about low self-esteem, and this is about young men who feel inadequate trying to prove themselves. So, you know, there's a sense when something goes wrong in our society, we need to make laws. I would take a step back from that and be saying, what are we teaching our young men? Why do they feel like this? Why are they behaving like this?
Where are their friends too? You know, like if I was ever out and about and had gotten to a stage where my friends sort of looked at me and thought, come on, Pet, you've got to go home. You'd be in a car or in a taxi and you'd be whisked home, you know. Like you see this CCTV footage and these guys, they're stumbling around and it's not pretty.
It was shocking footage, wasn't it? It was really, when I watched that, I saw it on Facebook and
it's embarrassing.
I felt sick.
It's embarrassing.
I have to say the coward's punch, the change from the king hit, I think that is inspired. I think that's exactly the sort of cultural change that you make it. You turn it from an act of power to an act of, you know, pathetic cowardice. And, you know, I think that's been a really, really good progression in dealing with the issue.
There's an economic question here as well. Like we've been talking about the heart of the CBD and that it needs work. Are you really going to then lock everyone out and take away all that business from some of those struggling businesses, you know? So I don't think it's simple. I think, you know, a bunch of laws cannot solve this problem. We need to look at it in a much more holistic way.